Okay guys, welcome again to Path for Cloud. So in last video we have seen that why we need to worry about the licensing part, what is the difference between Terraform and OpenTofu, right? So today we will see that what exactly the IAC and the installation of the OpenTofu across Windows and Linux, and if time permits we will see that if we can just quickly write one file and we will see how we can run and all this the four stages of the OpenTofu, right? Okay, so let's start. So in last video we have already seen that this so content, right? What all content we need to cover across these series. So let's start with the IAC tool, right? So I have one another machine. I am just going there and then there we will start the our IAC. So IaaS is nothing. IaaS is just an infrastructure as a code, right? Like you can manage your all infra as a code, right? Literally, you can write down each and every step, whatever the object you want to manage via your tool, right? You can just write, and that your tool will make sure whatever the situation or whatever the state, whatever you have defined, right? It will make sure that whatever you have declared it, it will be always there, right? So that's what that infrastructure as a code, right? So we have many tool in the market, like we have the Ansible, we have Puppet, we have Docker. Now you will say that Docker, how it can be IAC code and all these, right? So we will discuss. Yeah, just be with me. We have this Packer, we have, let's say, Vagrant, right? We have Terraform, obviously. We have OpenTofu, and yeah, we have cloud formation, right? This is cloud formation. Let's give some space. So this is all the tools we can manage, right? But according to me, I think we can consider all these as an infrastructure as a code tool, right? But maybe we can segregate those, right? So there is something called config management, right? There is something called custom template, or maybe, yeah, custom template is the good name, right? And obviously there will be a provisioning tool, right? So let's take one by one and we will try to segregate this accordingly, this, right? So I would say Ansible is a config management tool, right? Puppet is also a config management tool. Custom template, I would say these three will gonna consider, and then we have this as a provisioning template, right? Because what we can do is, right, config management tool is like which will help you to make the consistency across all your infra, right? Let's say if you are defined, I have one local account, let's say Ansible or maybe Path for Cloud, right? And that user is using a key based authentication, right? So how you will make sure that that user will be there and the key will be intact, right, across all servers, right? So you can define that stuff in the Ansible or Puppet, and Ansible and Puppet will make sure that if anyone is trying to create or anyone is trying to modify the key or the user, right, it will take it back to the defined stage, right? Wherever the Docker, Packer, and Vagrant is just to define your the custom template, right? Like if you have seen my Docker series, right? If not, then I will strongly recommend go and watch the Docker series, right? Because these are the basic stuffs you need to understand before we jump into the big DevOps world. So custom template is something where you can define your thing, how you want to customize your base image, what software needs to install, what additional other things need to install. That thing you can do in the custom template, right? And the last one is the provisioning tool, right? So where you are going to install all these stuff, right? Obviously you need some kind of infra, right? You need you need some compute, you need some virtual machines, right? So to make those virtual machines or EC2 instance or in Azure virtual machine, you have these tools, right, which will help you to create your infrastructure in within a minute, right? And not only to create, it will make sure that whatever you have declared, that will be always there, right? So that's what that the infrastructure as a code is, right? Because that will keep you your infra up to date, right? And it will make sure whatever we have, that if anyone is going to change or if you lose someone, then quickly you can roll back or quickly you can replicate your environment in the different stack, right? So that's what that this will help you, right? So this is how that this will gonna help. Terraform and OpenTofu, yeah, obviously it will almost a command and the structure almost will be everything will be same. Only the difference is that this is nowadays is license based, starting from 1.5.x, and OpenTofu is still open source, right? Cloud formation is just for the AWS, right? Like if you want to manage or if you want to like templating your object, right, or any resource in the AWS, so they have their native tool called cloud formation. But what if your infra is running on the VMware, Azure cloud, GCP cloud, or maybe any other thing, or physical machines, right? That way, that cloud formation will not gonna help you. So to overcome those, we have the Terraform and OpenTofu, right? But this series is just to dedicated to the OpenTofu. So now onwards, we will discuss only the OpenTofu, right? So OpenTofu will, as I mentioned, that it will gonna manage your VMware, it will gonna manage your AWS, it will gonna manage your Azure, it will gonna manage your GCP, right? So we'll see that going forward. Maybe we'll take the AWS and the Azure as our cloud provider, and we'll see that how we can create the resources and all, right? But just uh, uh, like before going to start all those stuff, right? We need to understand the basic things. So let's see how OpenTofu can be installed, where you can install, what all platform will be supported and all this, right? So let me go back to the official documentation. So this is the page where you can see we have this OpenTofu installation guidelines is there, right? And if you look at the left side, right, so here you can see that we have many platforms supported: Alpine Linux, whether you have the Debian based Ubuntu, FreeBSD, Fedora, .rpm based like RHEL, Alpha Linux, Homebrew, Windows, Docker, or maybe as a standalone if you want to do it, right? Where you can just go and directly download the your what you say that the binary file, right? And the binary file you can put it somewhere in the path and you can just do it your own way, right? But I will go to the Windows and we'll see how we can install it, right? So here you can see that it is supporting that winget module, right? So I'm gonna run this command and then we'll see whether the tofu gets installed or not. I have one another RHEL machine as well. There we will see that we have the two option. One is the OpenTofu installer script they are giving. You just need to download that and you just need to give some execute permission and run it. It will gonna install. Else, what you can do, you can set up a OpenTofu repo, right? And then you can just simply this yum or maybe the DNF based on your OS version, you can install directly tofu, right? So first we will start with the Windows. So I have copied this command and I have opened my command prompt and I just simply paste it and hit enter. Let's see. So you can see it gonna install the OpenTofu from the uh, okay. So it is successfully installed, right? So next command you can see that okay, which version we got. So if you just run that OpenTofu, uh, only the binary name is tofu, not open, okay? So tofu hyphen version. So you can see that we have this version installed, right, on the Windows. Now let's try to do in the same on the Linux machine, right? So I'm gonna copy this entire dot repo file, and this is my machine, and let's say what the path. Okay, the entire path is defined. So I'm gonna hit enter and let's verify we have the file is there. Yes, file is there, and let's try to run yum repo list one more time. This time it should show this OpenTofu repo, right? And then simply we can install the tofu. So you can see that we have the EPEL, we have the OpenTofu, and we have the OpenTofu source, right? So let's see if we have the tofu is available across these repos or not. So yum list will help you to see whether the package is there or not. So let's wait because it is refreshing its cache content, and then we'll see. Apart from that, what other tool we need to install in our system to make the practice across this series, right? So I have this Visual Studio Code I have installed, right? And I have installed some Terraform plugin as well, so that it will help you to write this code and everything, right? And I have defined this path. You can see that under E drive I have this path for cloud training and OpenTofu demo, right? So what we will do is we will create all files in the same place, right? And as soon as we are covering our topics, we will gonna upload all these to somewhere in the Git, so that you guys can also refer later if you want to following along. Then it will be easy for you to download. You can clone that entire repo into your system, and then we can just do our basics, right? So it is just taking few minutes. Just hang on. Once it is done, then we'll start the def tofu command, the basic command, the four magic stage of the tofu, right? So yeah, that's what the installation done. I am gonna write here. This is the installation, right? And if you want to see the installation page, so installation page is somewhere here. I'm gonna copy and paste here so that you guys can later. Apart from that, additional tool which will help you to, we have the Microsoft VS Code, right? And you can download the Git bash as well, because we need to push it to our GitHub, right, later on. So that's it. Let's see what is the stage. Okay, still it is just refreshing those content. Meanwhile, let's see what tofu is. So what tofu will gonna do is tofu will gonna download its provider, right? We have something called resource and its provider, right? Because that's a block. I will gonna explain what exactly it is, but just you need to understand that whenever you are creating any of the file for the tofu, right, you need to define a block and the provider. And under provider, you need to give some resource name, the logical name, and its arguments, right? We'll see that what are the all the arguments are mandatory, what all arguments are optional, which you can skip, right? So accordingly, we will gonna work it. So yeah, we will see this later. Let's come back to our magics, four magic steps, right? So we just mentioned block, provider, and the resource, right? And under resource we need to define our arguments, right? But before that, we have something called init, plan, and apply, and one is the last one is the destroy. So what are all these steps, right? So whenever you are doing, right, whatever the advanced version or the basic version you are running for the tofu, right, whatever the file you are doing, so these are the main basic four steps, right? So init is something, let's say you are writing a new uh, .tf file, right, for the tofu. And what will happen is, like, you are using some, because there is no limit, right? You can use any type of provider, any number of provider in the single file, right? But there are best practice which we will come along across when we move ahead. So in that file you can mention many number of provider. So whenever you are doing the tofu init, right? So what tofu will gonna do is tofu will gonna read that your file, right? So in this case we have this file, right? So what tofu will do, tofu will gonna read that file, And under this file, whatever the provider you are using, right, it will download those provider from the repository. Which repository? OpenTofu repository, right? So that it will run it. And once that is done, it will be ready, right? Because it is downloading some file. I will show you how that other provider and everything will be look like. The second stage is the plan stage, right? So in plan stage, what we will do is, if you are not sure, like whatever that the file you have written, right, what exactly that file will gonna do. So what you can do is, it is a kind of raw run, right? It will not change anything on that target platform. It will just show you whatever the file you are going to run with the tofu. It will just show you that, okay, what exactly the changes will gonna made, what new things will be done, what destroy, like whatever you are doing, right, that thing will be done. So apply is the main implementation. When you run the tofu apply, what will do is, it will gonna apply that all the declarative stage, whatever you have defined, that the exact or that the main changes, right? In real time, the changes gonna happen in this, right? And destroy, as the name suggests, destroy is something like whatever is already there, you want to destroy that particular thing, right? That's what we will do. Now come back to this file. Let me copy this and we will come back to our notepad and I will see. So see, this is the main file, right? So here what will happen, if you see, I have mentioned the block, right? So this is the block, right? We have the resource, we have the data sources, so that we will see later when we have these basic topics covered, right? So as of now, let's focus only the block as a resource type. So here what I'm doing is, I'm gonna just create a block called resource, and under resource I'm looking for a provider called local, and under local I'm looking for a resource called file, right? And this is just the you can say that the logical name, right? So the tofu will understand in this file whatever the changes you are gonna made for this, it will refer those against this logical name, right? And these are some the arguments. Some arguments are maybe mandatory, some are optional. So how you will come to know? For that you need to see the documentation. So here you can see I have this documentation, right? I will give this path to our description of this video, but as of now, let's focus on this provider. So what I have done is, I have just searched for the local, right? So under local, you can see we have that this resource, right? This block I was talking about, right? So I have this block called resource, and under resource, I have the two provider. One is the file and one is the sensitive file, right? So these are the local is our provider, and under local we have two resource, file and sensitive file, right? And this is just the basic name. And under this, if you go, let's say I'm going to file, you can see this is the example. You can see like that you need to write your file. Under required, you can see that only a one string or the one argument as a string data type is mandatory, right? Other are optional. If you don't mention, that is also fine. It will not give any error or something, but you need to define this, right? So you need to understand the difference between required and the optional, right? So required is something where you need to mention all that required arguments with some values. Optional is something, if required, just mention. If you don't want, don't mention, because this is a optional only, right? So here you can see I have this uh, file, right, which is there, and we have already installed this on Windows, right? And we have seen this, it was there, tofu version. Same command you can run in this. It's up to you. If you want to use a CMD, then you need to go to that path where you have the file, or you can use this terminal inside the VS Code as well. So here you can see the same thing, right? But before we start, there is one more important thing is, you don't need to define some file or something, right? Whenever you are doing, right? What you need to do is, you just need to run some tofu init, tofu plan, tofu apply, or maybe tofu destroy, right? Then how it will come to know, okay, which file I need to read and which I don't need to read, right? Any file is ending with the .tf extension will be the valid file for the OpenTofu, right? Whenever, or it doesn't matter like how many files you have. Let's say if you have two files with the same .tf extension, it will gonna consider both files, right? But later we will see that we have something called main.tf, we have some variables.tf, but we will discuss those in the next video. As of now, let's focus only this on star.tf. That means that any name you can give and that you have that .tf extension, if it's there, it will gonna consider as a valid OpenTofu file. So here you can see I have that basic underscore file .tf, right? And this file will be the valid for this. So let's see if I just say tofu in it, right? So what will gonna? It is initializing the backend. Which backend? Nothing. It is just the provider plugin. It will gonna install those plugin, right? Tofu in it, right? So here you can see what it has done is it has created a folder called .terraform, because obviously it is gonna use those documentation and the provider which HashiCorp has created for the Terraform, right? So don't worry if you see this .terraform, right? So what it has done is it has installed these, right? So if you go to this folder, right? So here you can see I have this uh, some files came under this .terraform, right? Under provider, if you go, right? Similarly, you have this. If you just see the path which is hovering the mouse under Terraform provider registry.opentofu.org, and I have this file 2.5.3, right? Which is nothing, which is just your provider, right? Local, and the version is 2.5.3, right? So that's what that we have this init command did. Now the second magic command is, if you remember, we have something called tofu plan. So tofu plan will come to you. You can see that 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy, but it is still under plan, right? And we come out our prompt. If you see what it will gonna do is it will gonna create, right? What it will gonna create? It will gonna create a this file with this module content, this one, because we have mentioned this content, right? Content base, these are some other like sensitive content. If you are using the directory permission, file permission, what is the file name? This will be the file name, right? And id, obviously it will gonna know after it's applied, because that will be a random string, and that is something that Terraform will use it for internal reference. So Terraform plan will just give you a row thing, right? Now, just focus under this demo, right? I have defined this path, right? OpenTofu demo myfile.txt. As of now, nothing is there under this, right? So let's do one thing. Tofu apply. When you do a tofu apply, right? Don't worry, whenever you are running, you can see that there is some log file and tf state file is coming. We will discuss all these in the upcoming videos, but as of now, I am just trying to convey like how the tofu works and what the basic commands, these four magic command, what it does, and how you can define the file extension .tf, right? These providers, block, resource name, and everything. So here you can see now it is still saying a plan, but this time it is gonna ask us these changes will be done. Are you happy with this? If you say yes, it will gonna create. If you say no, then it will not create. If you say yes, so here you can see apply completed. Resource is 1 added, 0 changed, and 0 destroy. And under demo, we have new file came myfile.txt, right? You can see that real time changes. Let's see. I have now do this demo purpose. I have changed the content, right? Now let's plan it. So it is saying No changes. Okay, I haven't saved this file. Now let's plan. Now it is saying that because it has detected, right? Whatever you have declared, the final target, final resource is not up to date, right? Because it is saying that it is different, whatever you have actual, right? Whatever you have declared and whatever you have actual, there is a different in between. So what we will, it is saying is, you can see that, right? This must be replaced. And what gonna replace? It will gonna replace the content, force replacement, you can see. This is the content as of now. We have seen this. Welcome to Path for Cloud. And it will gonna change to this, right? So let's see if I'll say apply again and I would say yes. So you can see it is changed in the real time, right? So that's what that this tofu apply command does. Now if I run the last magic command, which is nothing, is tofu destroy. Tofu destroy is saying is destroy, like whatever you have defined, that file will be go away, right? Let's say yes, and the file is gone. You can see it is gone. There is no file, right? So this is the four basic command of our tofu: init, plan, apply, and destroy. Init is nothing. Init is just to download the plugin, whatever the provider you are using in your like the TF file. Plan is just to show you what exactly it will gonna do. Apply will change the everything, like it will the real time implementation. And destroy is something which will gonna delete or remove that particular thing which you don't want to manage going forward with the OpenTofu, right? So I will gonna take a pause for today, and in the next video we will see that okay, how other files we have, like that. Apart from that, these main.tf, what all file we have. If you want to put a multiple provider in the single file, how you can put it, right? And here you can see that we what we are doing is we are just hard coding some content, right? But we'll see that if we can just write kind of dynamic code, right? So then we have something called variables, right? But before that we need to understand we have main.tf, variable.tf, all these files we need to understand what all these files and how you can call it internally. All right. So yeah, I will gonna take a pause for today. And if you like and if you see that okay, this course will gonna like kind of interesting, then I would recommend please be with me. Soon we'll have all these videos out for this course, and the code will be available on our GitHub repo. I will share that GitHub repo in the next video or maybe in the description of this video. And if you see, okay, it is really worth then and you will gonna learn something, then please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends or maybe other people which you think that okay, this can help them. All right, so let's meet in the next, and bye bye, thank you.